Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And today, guys, I've got to share something with you all that I found to be awfully peculiar. I don't get to use that word very often, so I figure, you know what? Now is probably the best time to use it. So yesterday I did a video talking about some champion chase shenanigans. Basically, the champion chase tournament has a winner, the leader of the entire global bracket with 614,000 player power. Now, initially looking at this, I know there's Krakens in the game. It's not too surprising. Second place, that name, the Sin tag, is recognizable for a pretty, well-established clan. A lot of whales in it as well, and a lot of Krakens, so no surprises there. We have Ziggy, who's also a pretty known high spender. We have other ET members, Gallifrey members, and all this kind of stuff. We have another player right here with also player 1134. Now, these names and such aren't necessarily surprising, and the formatting of this player's name as well as the top player's name is a little different. So we have the capital P and the space between the numbers. So that alone wasn't really setting off any red flags. However, we got some red flags that I want to jump into, a rabbit hole, a potential deeper rabbit hole than what I initially expect to jump into. But I got to ask you all for something. If you're a player, specifically between the levels of 50 and 81, let me know if you had any player in your bracket who was, named player and pushing a lot of points, or somebody who looked kind of suspicious. Let me know, DM me on Discord, send me some screenshots, but specifically between 51 and 80. The reason for this is because of a very interesting comment that I got yesterday on my YouTube channel. This is the comment right here that really made me want to dig into it more. So we have Jay. Jay left a comment on the YouTube channel saying that player, 1291, was in my tournament group. All that for Ragash. So, of course, I wanted to see him if he actually had player 1291450. Scroll over here, and we can see 587,000 points. There is nobody else on the global leaderboard to possibly mistake player 1291, whatever else following numbers past that, with anybody else. There's no doubt, because nobody even has close to 500,000 points. Now, that screenshot was taken before player 1291 was done pulling his shards, after the several days of actually pulling his shards went. But he has 614,000 there. Second place has 220,000. So when you see this and you realize that this player right here is between the levels of 51 and 80, this is where things start to get especially interesting, because that tells you a few things. One, you get most of your experience basically from energy. So you spend energy, get experience. If you're level 51 through 80, you already know it's pretty quick to get to level 51. You don't have to spend that much time playing the game to get to level 50 and even get to level 80. If you're a spender dropping 600,000 points worth of shards during a summon rush for Ragash, you have plenty of money. You probably have plenty of energy as well. So this player is extremely, extremely new, very, very early. So spending that much money, it would have to be money, because you're not playing long enough to collect shards. You're not playing long enough to really have consistent clan ball stuff going and collecting tons of shards from there. You're possibly doing Doom Tower, but maybe not. Usually the level of a account has a pretty high correlation with actual gear value. So somebody who's level 100 is 9 times out of 10 going to have much better gear than somebody who's level 80. And gear determines a lot on your progression of Doom Tower. Even if you have great champions, the gear is going to be very relevant to actually your progress in the Doom Tower. So I went ahead and did some more math, which you guys may be interested in, just out of curiosity. So knowing that this player was between levels of 51 and 80 lets me know, hey, this person probably hasn't had time to be farming and saving for a long time, buying void shards at a good deal, buying ancient shards as well. All this at a good deal. They probably had to dip into some gems and buy just outright ancient shards, assuming nothing more sketchy, more suspicious is going on, which I don't want to get too much into that just yet. We'll save that for another video. I'm going to submit some of this stuff to Playroom, especially if I get some more people sending me screenshots of player numbers following it, winning their tournaments, especially in that Ragash range, because it's kind of weird. Some coincidences are lining up that we'll talk about later on. But either way, so here we go for the Champion Chase tournament. 10 points for rare, 250 points for epics, 500 for legendaries. This is non-void champions. For void champions, it's 50 for void rares, 350 for void epics, 650 for void legendaries, okay? We basically went over this in yesterday's video. Scroll down a little bit. That is going to put us at, during a 2x event, you're going to get 104 points per shard during a void 2x. So since the weekend was no 2x for Ancients, you're going to be averaging 34 points per shard. Since I got an idea that this player either bought every Void pack for the past several months, possibly to get that many Void shards, because yesterday's video, I think he basically would have had to open like 6,000 Void shards to get that many points. I mean, it was what, 600,000 points? So if you do some math real quick, I've been doing a ton of it. So that would be basically 5,800 Void shards needing to be opened. Now, if that was Ancient shards at 34 points, say you just did it with that, 34 points, it's 17,000 Ancient shards. Let's get a little bit deeper into the math. So scrolling down, 614,000 points. I already did that. 5,912 Voids, or 18,000 Ancients. Now, if you're somebody, because this is really the only way to, once this event like finishes, once you finish your Void shards, you can't just buy an unlimited amount. I mean, the values in this shop are really bad, extremely bad. Like this up here, these Void shards, this is $100 for 5 shards. Nobody's really buying that. All right, so we come in here to this math, and you see, all right, so Ancients are the only thing you can buy unlimited amounts of. You come in here, you buy the stack of 4,200 gems, which is 42 gems per dollar spent. Buy the stack of 4,200 gems, you come to the gem shop, and you buy the 11 Ancient shards for 900 gems. Now, if you did that, how many packs would you have to buy? How many gems would you have to buy? Well, you'd have to buy 1.4 million, so 1,479,000 gems is what you would need to buy to get the needed 18,000 Ancients. Now, how much money would that cost? Well, that would cost you $35,214. That would be the money spent over the weekend. This is the potential. Now, in reality, the actual money spent is somewhere probably between this. So this one at the top was $14,000. I believe from yesterday's video, it was $14,000. So knowing that if this player bought Voids at the market value, like the good value of like, what was it? I forget what it was yesterday, like 225 or something. Either way, you're going to see in a second why that doesn't really matter because of the pricing of Voids and how they get mixed into with different packs. So I went to my Discord channel and I pulled the shard purchase pack breakdown from Smiley's. So I saw all the Void shard offers. Let's go to Void shard. I looked up all the ones just for last month to be curious. Okay. Now, with that said, if you bought every single Void pack for last month alone, you're not going to get the best value on Voids. And that's what happens. Like here, this is 10 Void shards. However, it's also 20 Ancients, 10 Legendaries, and 8,000 energy. If you look at this, that's $9 per Void shard if you're only valuing Voids. So if you're somebody looking for just the best Void packs, like say you're looking for only this pack, right? Scroll down a little bit more, maybe like packs like this. Okay, you're gonna have to wait a while, but those come around once in a blue moon, basically. These right here are pretty regular, 78 Voids for $250. That puts it at $226 per Void shard. But let's see, just last month alone, if this player truly bought every pack that offered Void shards, how much would they have spent? Well, they would have gotten 920 shards for $3,440. Now, they need about 6,000 shards. So they need 6,000 shards divided by 920. They would have had to buy or spend that amount. So the 3440 times, let's say 6, all right? So 3440 times 6, it's gonna be about $20,000 just on Void shards had they only bought the Void shards each month. Now, that could be a huge range as well. You could spend more than that, you could spend less than that. But the idea of what I want to share with you all is that for that account, knowing that they're levels 51 to 80, to have put up 614,000 points, they would have had to do some very, very crazy things. Now, I don't think it's unreasonable. It's not, well, it is unreasonable, but I don't think it's unfathomable to imagine that a player who's pretty new comes in, purchases tons of shards, has nothing better to do with their money, and opens up an insane amount of shards over the course of a weekend. However, things start to look pretty weird when you're seeing other players with the player number following their name, knowing that that player was in the Regash bracket, knowing all this stuff adding up, and then knowing kind of a little bit more past that I can't actually talk about. I keep saying I can't talk about it because actually I don't want to just yet. Recently, we've been having some shenanigans happening in the raid community. Not too long ago, there's a lot of raid accounts banned for some actions you don't want to involve yourself in. So not necessarily that these accounts are linked to that in any way, but what I'm thinking is that there could potentially be some problems in tournaments in the future. So this one, I don't think is that big of a deal. Like this player alone, as they're on their own, I don't think this harms anything. But the potential could be very harmful for some other players. So this player basically started off their bracket putting up hundreds of thousands of points within the first day or two. So probably within the first couple of hours. They didn't wait very long at all. So that's not a big deal. The big deal about this comes when those players decide, hey, instead of blowing all of our resources at the beginning, we're going to wait and snipe the top player. So now you have somebody who's invested, say, 50,000 points, 60,000 points to go for a champion they want, but then you have a player, assuming, this is all making assumptions, and this is also a lot of stuff that's just theories, nothing's proven, but then you have a player who achieved a load of shards from some interesting means, and now they've well passed anything you could get. Obviously, players come in with a bunch of money, they're going to do that. They're going to snipe you. That sucks, but it's fine. That's fair. Okay, you spend the money, you get the shards, you win. You can't fight the pay to win aspect in Raid. That's going to happen, especially in these shard tournaments. But like I said, it becomes an issue when those players start sniping people. So now you have these accounts that are very, very suspicious coming in with hundreds of thousands of points. And like I said, I wish I knew what bracket this player was in. Assuming it's not a person who just changed their name, which it could very well be. I don't doubt that at all. But assuming it's not, I'm very interested to see what bracket they're in, especially since they're up here with all the well-known whales and krakens in the game. Now, the other issue is that they're just going to snipe the global leaderboards whenever, they're just going to take it over whenever we have champion summon events for global leaderboard first place prizes. So say we have like a brand new champion released to the global leaderboard. I know Plarium doesn't want this to happen, but they have an account that comes in. It's not a honest account, and your honest players who've played for a long time now all of a sudden are competing against accounts that are doing shady things, doing things that it's not fair. Now, I think it's pretty, like this is a very obvious situation. If that player did not put up 614,000 points, no red flags would have been raised. If they put up 150,000, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. If they were in a Kaimar group, I probably wouldn't have thought that much of it. But they're in a group for Ragash. Ragash, it's a good champion, but that player probably doesn't need him. They're very new. It shows that they're very new. This situation alone, I think, shows more that this is a potentially sketchy situation than anything else. It's just a huge, huge gap. Like this person right here, number 7, 146,000 points. I don't think anything of that. Like that's not sending off any red flags. That easily could be somebody who just changed their name. I don't doubt they're in Kaimar group. Actually, I assume everybody up here in 100,000 points is in Kaimar group. Not necessarily true, but that's what I assume. Either way, guys, something that I thought was pretty interesting, something I wanted to get out there as soon as possible because we only have 10 hours left until this is gone. So if you are a player who has somebody in your bracket who's put up a suspicious amount of points, specifically with a player XXX name, let me know. I'm definitely interested in finding that out. Let me know soon because I would like to see kind of a compilation of that, bunch of different screenshots because I am going to try to send this stuff to Plarium. If we can find out some more about this, I do want to figure out what's going on here because I do think it could be pretty bad in general for the raid community if it actually is accounts that are doing things sketchy, shady, precarious. Is that a good word for that? Precarious. That sounds like a good word. Let's see. Let me look that up. Precarious. I don't know how to spell that word. Precarious. Not securely held or in a position dangerously likely to fall or collapse. Dependent on chance, uncertain. He made a precarious living as a painter. I don't know, but we'll leave it there. Precarious, peculiar. Pretty sure I'm done with this video, guys. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.